This is the College Blitz on CBS 17 Plus.
Well, it's certainly a special time of year, and it is every year with the holiday, but also because this is the final week of college football in the regular season, at least in the Triangle. Happy that you're joining us here for the Blitz. Kevin Holden in the CBS 17 Plus studios. Well, I guess we've got a couple of things to talk about. Some craziness that happened over the weekend, Friday and Saturday for the Triangle teams. The crazy thing is we entered the weekend with no one, absolutely no one, with their bowl fate determined. All three teams still had a chance to make a bowl game, but none had clinched a bowl spot. And we end that weekend with all three teams' bowl fates clinched. Duke will be going bowling. NC State will be going bowling. And UNC, the only way it could happen for them is there is that small mathematical possibility that all the 6-win teams end up taking up bowl spots, and there's still a few bowl spots left to be filled. A thing called APR comes into play there, academic records, and UNC would be at the top of the 5 and 7 teams. Again, we're creating a bit of a scenario here. They would have to win their last game, and the 6 and 6 teams would have to not fill up all the bowl spots. So UNC has, I suppose, still a little bit of a shot at a bowl game, but it does seem like quite a bit of a long shot. Duke and NC State, though, they will be headed to bowl games thanks to the effort that they put in the next to last week, the penultimate week of college football season. So Duke and UNC, that battle for the victory bell, it is always intense. It is always fun, and it always ends with the emotions sort of boiling over. And in this case, it was no different as Duke comes up with the win 32-25 over UNC. And the crazy thing is, I fully expected to sit here and talk about UNC's defense and Duke's offense, the two most important units involved in this game, Duke being able to move the ball, UNC doing a good job at stopping people moving the ball. But the numbers don't mean a ton. We could talk about a few things involved in this. The fact that UNC had a couple of rushing touchdowns. They had a lead late in the game that, you know, on the Duke side, as I'm pulling these up here, 175 yards and a touchdown for Darian Mensah. And of course, the big game from Castle with the 3 touchdowns. But what really matters in this game is a kicker. And I don't mean a kicker kicking a field goal. I'm talking about a kicker absolutely playing hero. Todd Polino in a 4th down situation with less than 3 minutes to go and Duke trailing by a point ends up rushing for almost 25 yards, almost scored a touchdown. And we could probably do the entire show based on that one play. The fact that Manny Diaz felt comfortable enough on the road in Chapel Hill on a 4th down situation, instead of trying to kick a field goal, to fake it and let a kicker run with the ball. Because if that kicker gets stopped for a loss and UNC takes over on downs with a lead in their house, that turns into a play that we scrutinize in a very negative way for a long, long time. But Manny Diaz and his coaching staff understood the play, understood where the defense was set up, and decided that they were going to try to run it. It was gutsy, and the kind of thing that you love to see in a rivalry, the kind of thing that will be remembered for years in a rivalry. So with all the great playmakers and all that millions of dollars of NIL money going back and forth, it all comes down to a kicker on 4th down running the ball for a 1st down and then more. He got pushed out or knocked out at the 1-yard line, and then Duke scores a touchdown shortly after. And then when they did that to go up 30-25, UNC had a penalty on that play, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that pushed the ball up a little bit closer. Duke was probably going to go for 2 anyway, because going for 2 gives them a 7-point lead and forces UNC then to score a touchdown with the extra point, only to tie. But having the ball that much closer certainly made it that much easier for Diaz and company to make the decision to go for 2, which they did, and they come up with the 32-25 win. It's the first time in a long time that Duke has won this game in the rivalry, the Victory Bell, in back-to-back years. UNC had done a lot of dominating until recent years, but not the case in this case. And again, how crazy is it that it's all because of a kicker? So instead of hearing from Manny Diaz, instead of getting the coach speak and the answers, and Manny Diaz had good things to say, we want to hear the reactions, not only from Todd Polino, but from his teammates.
My first and last, so I get to be 1-0 forever. And so that's a great feeling. But, yeah, I mean, obviously this game means more, and we all felt that, and I was just happy to be a part of it. Happy to get this for these seniors that have been here 4 or 5 years, and yeah, this was awesome.
It was 3 yards, and I caught the ball, and I saw like 2 or 3 D linemen running my way, and I was like, oh, I got to get 3 here. And I kept running, and I kind of got them on the edge. And I saw a lot of green grass, and I was like, oh, my God, I might score.
I mean, to be honest, I couldn't believe it. I mean, we had that play drawn up all week, but, like, as soon as I officially saw him running down, I mean, Todd's one of my, like, closest friends. You know, seeing him able to, you know, run, especially in the UNC game, all the way down to close to the end zone. I mean, it was a pretty special moment, and then we were really excited that we could punch one in right there.
I call him T-Money. Todd is money when he kicks that ball. And this was just a special night. I mean, he was great from the field goal position and then just executing that fake perfectly. And it's just this team has done a lot, and we just appreciate him to the fullest of our extent. We're nothing without Todd being able to finish out there when all the team is on his shoulders.
We are nothing without Todd. Of all the things that you expected someone to say in the next to last week of college football season, I'm not sure that was at the top of the list, but here we are with Todd Polino helping Duke snatch another victory there in the Victory Bell rivalry with UNC, and they win this one in Chapel Hill. So the implications are pretty simple. Duke picks up their 6th win, and they go into the last week of the season not having to worry about bowl eligibility. They'll play Wake Forest, who's a very tough team, by the way. Wake Forest certainly feels a lot like Duke felt last year in terms of number of victories and the momentum that's behind that program right now. So Duke will face them with the idea of winning game number 7 and hopefully improving their bowl standing just a bit, improving their ACC standing just a bit. But if it doesn't happen, they're a 6-6 team, and they're headed to a bowl game. Of course, now we start looking at projections. Is it the Duke's Mayo Bowl? Is it the Birmingham Bowl? Is it the Military Bowl? It's something, and I think that's what's most important for Duke as they came into the next to last week of the season, not knowing if they were going to head to a bowl game. Now they do, and for UNC, unless again they get rescued by the APR situation and 5 and 7 teams, it looks like they will not be going to a bowl game. Gio Lopez only had 6 incomplete passes in this game. He crossed the 200-yard mark passing, threw for a touchdown. Those aren't gaudy numbers, but Lopez, again, only 6 incompletions, but man, he was taking some shots at the end of that game. Absolutely looked dejected, which you can certainly understand in this situation. Lopez coming in and understanding the rivalry and understanding the implications of it. He's still trying to get his team to finish the season with a couple of wins and get to 6 and clinch that bowl game, and none of that happened. And this is one that stings for the UNC program, and it stings honestly for several reasons. I mean, the obvious ones, losing to Duke and having to deal with that end of the rivalry, that's difficult. The bowl game part is difficult. But I think there were expectations when this all started, especially with Bill Belichick coming in and bringing the staff that he brought in, and an increase in NIL money and 70 new players on the roster. This team was supposed to make a little bit more noise, and even early in the year, they were preaching patience, right? There were a couple of off weeks in the midseason sandwiched around the game against Clemson, and the thought is they would get better, and they did. UNC did improve, but here, in this situation where you're at home and you're facing a rival, you end up getting beat, and you get beat thanks to some issues with discipline. You get beat on a trick play, a lot of other stuff that will hurt in the weeks to come. This was UNC after Saturday's loss.
Man, it sucks. I mean, it sucks, man. Especially, I just went there, just hugged Kobe, just told him I love him, man. That's all you could do, man. Like I said, I was playing not for me. I wanted to win that for Kobe in specific, and just came up short, man, but Kobe balled out. All of our seniors balled out. They all made plays 2-9. He made some great plays on the ball, man. Just everybody left it all out there, man, and we're just a couple plays away.
Proud of the effort everybody gave all week and tonight. Obviously came up a few plays short, and it's disappointing. But give Duke credit. They made a few more plays than we did at the critical times, and ultimately. That was the difference in the game.
I mean, we got the next 24 hours to watch it, fix what we did bad in, and hopefully just do more of the good, and then get ready for state. It's a big game. We got to finish strong. We got a good group. I mean, I'm proud of our guys for playing hard, but we just got to play a little harder, and then hopefully next week we come out with the victory and finish the season strong.
I'm not saying that the bowl game no longer being in question takes anything out of the rivalry in this coming week between UNC and NC State. Clearly, those are two teams, again, rivals that dislike each other. NC State has kind of had some recent dominance in the series. UNC would like to do something about that. But bowl games will not be at stake for either team. It's just about finishing the season strong, and it's about two rivals that'll just bump heads and go head-to-head, and that'll be what you have. But again, it will not be about bowls for either team, and that's because NC State took care of business as well on Friday night with a win over Florida State. Now, I do want to get into the stats here, because if I had said to you before this game that on Friday night on the national television game, C.J. Bailey would throw for 152 yards and a couple touchdowns, and Hollywood Smothers would have 84 yards, and Justin Jolie would lead the receivers with 66. That sounds a bit lackluster, and you guys know that Florida State's offense has been really, really strong for the majority of this year. It certainly would have sounded like NC State took one on the chin, and it was exactly the opposite, because NC State's defense played one of the better games of the year, maybe their best effort of the season, allowing just 11 points to Florida State. And remember, they did this coming off a game at Miami where the defense just got annihilated. It was 41-0 at one point in that game. And this NC State team has gone to Pitt and allowed 53, and they've gone to Notre Dame and allowed a ton of points. Road games have been difficult, but it's hard to just put that behind you. You say it all you want, but to put that behind you and come home and bring a strong defensive effort at Carter Finley Stadium is easier said than done, and they did it. And that was for NC State. This was, I thought, one of the most impressive games of the year, and that includes the win over Georgia Tech. Tech's a ranked team. Florida State has certainly had their share of problems, but this was a clean game from the defensive standpoint. And, of course, don't forget about the special teams. You had a punt where the NC State punter recovered the ball that he kicked because it hit a Florida State player's helmet and rolled 20 yards back to the punter. And then after a 3-and-out that immediately followed, Florida State fumbled the ball again on special teams. That is obviously more Florida State's errors on special teams than it is NC State's good parts on special teams. But what put it over the top, again, was this tremendous defensive effort. And if anybody appreciates a strong defensive effort late in the year to get to a bowl game.
That's the second best offense, supposedly, in the country. Ranking-wise, I was asked that 100 times this week, and we just held them to 11 points. And so, man, I'm so proud of our defensive kids and defensive staff coming off a really opposite type of game the week before. I thought our guys played outstanding defensive football tonight.
We felt like we haven't put a full game together as a defense, and I feel like we did that tonight. They were on us all week about doing what we needed to do, just doing your job, playing fast like we always say, and it showed tonight. We finally put a full game together, and it was awesome to play out there with those guys tonight.
Tremendous effort from NC State, and that gets them to a bowl game. We know that they will once again go bowling. It's been a tradition. I mean, 6-win seasons, won't really raise a lot from the fan base, but the chance to play in December somewhere and the chance to continue that tradition for your team and to send your seniors out with a bowl game and to show the young players and the incoming players that are being recruited that there's a tradition there. It's meaningful. It really is. And NC State has a chance to pick up a 7th win if they can beat UNC next week. So all of that points to positivity, even if they only put up 21 points against Florida State, including 7 at the very, very end with Justin Jolie bringing in that touchdown. So that's the next to last week in college football in the Triangle. Certainly had a feel that it could have been the last week of the regular season, but the last week promises to bring its own fun, which we'll get to right after this. You are watching The Blitz on CBS 17+.
This is the College Blitz on CBS 17+. This is the College Blitz on CBS 17+.
The last week, can you believe it? Already at the last week of college football season. It was a quick-moving year, but certainly the storylines went a long way for all three of these Triangle teams. We appreciate you watching all throughout the year here on CBS 17+. I'm Kevin Holden. Let's set up the last batch of games of the regular season. We know that NC State will play one more game after this one. We know that UNC very likely will not play one more game after this one, but it will be interesting to see in this matchup. They're playing at Carter Finley Stadium on Saturday. It will be interesting to see the difference between these two programs as they stand right now. Dave Dorn, the guy who's been at his program by far the longest in the area, versus Bill Belichick in his very first year and trying to make progress in that first year as UNC's coach. You've got an NC State team that has been really difficult at home. They've been just about unbeatable at home. Virginia Tech is the only team that's been able to trip up the Wolfpack at Carter Finley Stadium. They've beaten Virginia, who's ranked. They've beaten Georgia Tech, who's ranked. They've beaten Florida State, who at one time was ranked, certainly not when they played each other, but earlier in the year, Florida State was ranked. So NC State has a little bit of a pride attached to where they are in terms of home field edge. UNC would love to come in and show that the first year under Bill Belichick has progressed to a point where they could pick up a game like this on the road, where they could give NC State a test and then pick up that win, upend your rivals, if you would, and then, move on to the next year with that extra bit of momentum, that extra good taste. UNC, though, coming in 4-7 and coming in off two straight losses, Wake Forest and Duke, one home and one road. Difficult situation there. Why don't we start with the NC State side of things? We'll hear from the Wolfpack as they get ready for senior night at Carter Finley Stadium and a rivalry game, a big one with UNC.
I tell you, watching them on film the last 2 days, they've gotten a ton better. One of the more improved teams that I've watched. When you get to the latter part of the year, you watch every game. And so when you watch them game 1 through game 11, I'm really impressed with their improvement, and particularly on defense. Their defense is playing at a high level, and it starts with their defensive front and their linebacker. But those guys on the defensive side of the ball, they're playing really well. Looking forward to it, man. And in these games, records don't matter. They never have. Two teams that are close, in vicinity, and been playing oldest, longest standing rivalry in the ACC. It's an awesome rivalry football game, and I look forward to playing them against a really well-coached group of guys.
Now, on the heels side, you come in not only on this 2-game losing streak, but you come in on the heels of that game against Duke, the one where a kicker makes a difference on a 4th down play, the one where an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty leads to a 2-point conversion, which maybe could have happened anyway, but it absolutely happened after that penalty. And it was a 7-point game in the last minute that Gio Lopez and company couldn't really do much with on offense. I think if fans and coaches and even players could tell you they would like to improve one element of the game in Chapel Hill, it would be the offense, without a doubt. Lopez did miss some time with injury earlier in the year, and he's established a good rapport with a couple of the receivers, but for the most part, this offense has had difficulty moving the ball and scoring points. When they were at Stanford, or at home against Stanford, they won that game scoring just 20. When they were at Syracuse, they won that game scoring 27. Those are the only 2 wins that they've had since September. The other 2 wins early in the year against Charlotte and Richmond. And if you go to the losses, they scored 12 against Wake Forest without a touchdown, scored 25 against Duke, which isn't bad. Duke is a pretty good defense, but not enough to win that game. 16 against Virginia, 18 against California. You get the point. That is where UNC would like to sort of end their season, end their sentence with an exclamation point to show that they're making that progress offensively, to go with some of the good games that they put together defensively. So here's Bill Belichick and company as they get ready to travel down to Raleigh to face the Wolfpack, last game of the regular season, trying to pick up win number 5.
Looking forward to to this rivalry. North Carolina, NC State. I know this is it's be a super competitive environment and game, and look forward to it. Again, similar to what we saw last week, but on their turf, and it'll be like I said, a very highly competitive atmosphere, no doubt about that. Night game. So the last regular season game would be a lot of energy there. I've known Coach Dorn for quite a while. One of his best friends is a coach who worked with me, Brett Billema, and always had a ton of respect for what Dave has done there. He always has a tough, highly competitive team. These guys play with really good fundamentals and good energy.
And then we finish things up with Duke, who has really the stuff that matters the most ahead of them now. They've got that locked in. A bowl game will happen. The ACC championship game will not. And so Duke is going to play against Wake Forest just to pick up one more win. I mean, look, it's not that they're not going to take pride in taking the field and try to finish off with a win. They'll be at home. They obviously want to send the seniors out with a win and take that momentum into a bowl game. But we're not talking about anything extra at stake beyond that for Duke. The one thing that they'll have, and look, this is not exactly high-level analysis, but the one thing they'll have is a ton of momentum and a ton of energy after what they did in Chapel Hill last Saturday. They're going to be able to take that and roll with that for quite a while. Todd Pelino is going to be a hero on that campus for quite a while to come. But now Duke has got to focus in on a Wake Forest team that is certainly no gimme to end the season. Wake Forest has been one of the surprise stories of the ACC. That's a first-year head coach there. They've done tremendous work, and Manny Diaz and his group know that this is not going to be easy. This is not coasting into bowl season. This is going to be a tough test for them to wrap up the regular season at home.
Impressive, really, really impressive. I mean, they're the way they play in all three phases, how hard they play, how tough and physical they play. They have an edge about them, and they are fully deserving of their record. If not, honestly, should probably have more wins just if a play here goes their way. I mean, they would certainly be up for, as a staff, worthy of Coach of the Year in this conference. So it's gonna take really our best effort to get a victory against these guys on Saturday. And we were able to kind of turn the page yesterday and start turning our attention to, like I said, finishing the year off strong.
So it's Duke and Wake Forest and then NC State against UNC, and that's going to wrap up the regular season. It'll wrap us up here as well on the Blitz. 13 weeks have gone by like it's nothing, and we've certainly seen the landscape evolve here in college football. Really all fall from Belichick and his heels to Dave Doran and the story of NC State starting strong, sagging a bit in the middle, coming up with some big wins at the end of their season. Duke now trying to reestablish itself as it gets toward bowl season. And, of course, Campbell finished out their regular season with the loss at Towson. They finished 2-10. NC Central 8-4 as they finished up with a win over Morgan State. But bottom line is been a lot to talk about all season, and there will continue to be a lot to talk about in the college football scene here in the Triangle. We are going to have a college basketball show here on CBS 17 Plus. Take a little bit of a break here now that the college football regular season's done, but we will be back with college basketball. Sarah Holland and Todd Gibson will be joining me. They've been out doing the real work while I've been in here running my jaw for the last couple of months. So we appreciate you watching, and we'll see what happens with bowl season and beyond. College football in the Triangle, certainly no shortage of stuff to talk about. Thank you very much for watching the Blitz.
This is the College Blitz on CBS 17 Plus.